Have you ever used a word or committed to something and wasn't sure how to make that word that you're using a reality? Or said yes to doing something and didn't really think through the actions and behaviors needed to honor that commitment? My name is Suzanne Hart, and welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. And our topic today is 3 reasons why your habits may be messing with your success. Think about it. Habits messing with your success. So welcome, welcome. As you join in, please let us know who you are. And I see Yetta out there. I see Taria out there. Welcome. So let us know who you are, where you are joining us from. So what part of the world you're joining us from, and who you're called to serve. So who are you called to impact and what you do while you're living? So put all that in the comment section so that we know exactly who you are. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is, as you join in, please take a moment and think about, whose life do I need to bless? Share this with a friend, share this on your page, share it in a group, because we want to spread the love. Knowledge is power. When we do spread it. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is get into communication. Comment, share, like. Let us know what you're thinking as we engage in this conversation. If you're joining us and you're listening to the replay, first of all, hashtag replay. Then also let us know your name, who you are, who you're called to serve, and what part of the world you're joining us from. Also, when you love what you hear, and I know you will, take a moment, bless a life, share with a friend and say, this is a must listen to. You want to be part of this conversation. Hello, Ryan. Welcome, welcome. All right. So I'm excited for this topic. We're going to be talking all month. We are in habit, the mastery of habits, right? This is a mindset piece because our habits move us forward or they keep us standing still. And sometimes they actually move us backwards. So as we get jumping into this topic today, let me officially get us started and introduce a beautiful woman sitting beside me. So my name is Suzanne Hart. Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. And today we're going to be looking at why your habits may be messing with your success. The question I want you to think about is, do you sometimes make a commitment and not think of the actions needed to honor that commitment, the way you need to show up in the world? This is what we're going to talk through today. So as we jump into this conversation, definitely comment. Let us know where you are on this. The woman sitting beside me is a dear friend. We have been friends for, oh my gosh, 10 plus years. I have watched her go on a journey. And the reason I asked this beautiful woman to come and join me with this conversation is I have seen her up-level her level of personal mastery. I have seen her do the work on herself so that the way she shows up in the world definitely shifts. And so we're going to talk through habits because there's been a big shift in her habits. So please welcome to Unstoppable Mindset, Fozia Murtaza. Hi, Foz.
Hi, Suzanne. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation and so excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. Whenever I plan a live, whenever I think of a topic, I'm like, who is the person that would be just beautiful for this topic? And having the privilege of watching your journey and watching your personal transformation, and you just totally up-level your leadership, I thought Fozia has to be the person I sit down and have this conversation with. So first of all, I'm going to define habits so we put everybody on the same page. I like to call it your automatic way of being, the things you do without thinking. Habits can either move you forward or they can move you backwards. Either way, we get to choose how our habits impact our world. And I think for a lot of people, that is a big learn. So Fozia, when you first thought of habits in yourself, what were your thoughts in terms of just habits in general?
Oh, that's a great question. So, my understanding of habits was just things that I would do routinely, and I didn't give much thought to why I chose to do those things, or that
Mhm.
I even had a choice to do those things. It was just habit. It was the way that I was, and it's just I really didn't think about it. I think with habits, it's so automatic, right? And it's so easy to say, well, this is how I am. This is just who I am, without realizing that it's actually a choice. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think if I had to sum up what I thought habits was before, it was just my automatic way of being, and not even thinking that I had a way or a chance to choose differently.
And I love that you said that because so commonly, and how many of you listening actually think, oh, well, that's just who I am. I've been like that forever. That's who I am. And we are so conditioned to be kind of passive when it comes to habits, unless it's the habit of like smoking, it's the habit of something, drinking. Those types of habits we are very clear on. I need to stop, I need to curtail. But when it comes to just our natural way of being, we tend to not even pay much attention. So let me ask you this thing. When I started really looking at habits and I got into this topic, I didn't realize that almost everything I did was a habit. Like everything, right?
Yeah.
Did you have that knowledge, or did you just think that there are certain things that are habits and then there's all these other things that they're just who I am?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And you mentioned smoking, right? So I don't have a habit of smoking. I don't have a habit of gossiping. I don't have a And so I could sum it up and I say I don't have very many bad habits, right? But but I never thought of it as everything that I do routinely is a habit. And so, going to bed late is a habit. It's not that, oh, I'm just a night owl and so that's how it is. Like, I actually choose that, and I've been choosing it. But it didn't occur to me. I didn't understand how deep it went. And I didn't understand that habits aren't just those things that we can, pinpoint and say, oh, well, I don't smoke, so I don't have that habit, or I
Yeah.
don't drink. But, how many other things do we do in our day? A gazillion. They're all habits.
And it's so true. The one that really impacted me was the realization that my emotional reaction to something was a habitual way of being. And really for me, that was huge because I was, believe it or not, I was the little bit of a drama queen, and I, emotional, and really had to face that was just my way of being. My mother would say that when something happened to Suzanne, the whole world knew because I was just so dramatic. And I just thought, well, that's what happens when I get emotional, not really knowing that was a habit, and emotional ways of being are kind of addictive.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I think for me it was the opposite. So if I wasn't happy, if things were happening out of, you know, in my world that caused me to feel that overwhelm, my habit, the way that I would show up is I wouldn't show up. I would disappear.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I would just literally go MIA. And I didn't realize that it was something that I was choosing to do. I just thought that it was something that I needed to do because of who I was. I thought this is just the way that my body, my mind, how I deal with everything. And so I need to serve that, and that's just how I am. And so I was like horrible at communication. I was horrible at expressing what was really going on with me, and that's just how I showed up. It is by not showing up, I would disappear
Yeah.
and disconnect, really. And so I think that when I really understood that the impact that it was having on me, and that I had a choice, that
Mm,
was that was a hard pill to swallow, because then it was like, okay, there's no external blame that I can put out. There's no, and it's about, okay, well, if I get to choose every step of the way, every moment in the day, I get to choose how I want to show up, then I really have to look at what is the way, what am I choosing, and how am I showing up, and what's the impact that it's having on my life, and am I happy with that impact? Because if I'm not, rather than just say, oh, well, that's just how I am, I can actually change it. But it takes a long time.
What you're saying is so key, because and no matter what it is, and I'll give an example. One of the things I've done is I've managed a women's shelter, a shelter for abused women, and I would watch women come into the shelter, and they would return, right? And I remember telling, and the staff would always go, we totally understand, da da da. And I was like, so I remember saying to the team I supervised, no, we gotta have them be responsible for this choice. And they thought I was the cruelest person, right? Because I was inconsiderate. But this is what I wanted them to get, is until we know we have a choice, we can't make a different choice.
Oh, so true.
Isn't it true? And if I think that I'm a victim of something outside of me, bigger than me, then the power to make another choice eludes me. The minute someone puts the opportunity to choose in front of you, then you assume responsibility, and assuming responsibility is you reclaim power and you choose. And what began to happen was, when we started using that very specific language, women would tear up and they'd go, I have a choice. And it's not an easy choice. Let's be clear. But you do have a choice. And it was almost like the first time it landed, choice. And I think for each and every one of us, no matter what's going on in our life, our habitual way of being creates our reality. And you're saying something so powerful, that when you realize that you can choose different, magic, huh?
Magic happens. Magic happens. You said the key word there. You get back your power, right? So I spent so many years just having so much blame and frustration and resentment, and so many things towards anyone and everyone and every event. And, like, why was this happening to me, right? And then it wasn't until I learned that it's not that it's happening to me, but it's actually happening for me. And it was the same cycle that kept happening. And why was it happening? Why did I find myself in the same hole all the time? It was because it was happening for me to really develop into creating new habits for myself. So I would choose different, right? And it's like, even if you do, it doesn't have to be a big, huge change, even just like a baby step in a different direction. I mean, you remember when we were in grade school in mathematics, and you have like the degree, right? The angle. And so you just change it by 2 degrees, and right at the pinpoint, it's not much of a difference. But at the end, like when you go outwards, it's huge. And it just changes the direction, even if it's like baby steps. But in order to get there, the first thing was, I don't want to be where I am right now anymore. That was the first thing that had to happen.
Now, I want someone to write this down in the comment section. I don't know if someone did already, but you said it's happening for you. Such a powerful way of looking at something, rather than, why is this happening to me? No power.
Victim.
Right? Victim, right? Yeah. Absolutely. This is happening for me. And I love that you said it's happening for me to have a realization. But the other really powerful thing you said is that we create these habitual patterns, right? These habitual patterns, and they're like cycles. And until you and I are able to change that habitual pattern, nothing in our lives changes. And even as you're talking about it, now we're looking at habits in its totality. the habitual patterns and routines and ways of being that I get myself spiraling into creates the life that I'm living today.
Yeah, that's so true. And you said like there are habitual way of being, right? So these are habits that maybe at some time in childhood, in the past, whatever we went through,
Yeah.
that's served us at that time. But what happens is that I learned that way of being continues with us, and
Mhm.
it becomes so familiar and it becomes so comfortable that that's why it's automatic, right?
Yeah.
And so the tough part, the really hard part is understanding that yes, we can't go back and change the event or the situation that happened, but if we look at it from a different perspective and we can say, all right, whatever happened, and these are the strengths that I got from that. This is what I used in that situation, but the emotional baggage and all of the that heaviness that we carry with us, which is the reason we get so emotional when we talk about our past, because we haven't been able to regulate the emotions that come up with the past event, right? So
Yeah.
if we're able to look at it from a different perspective and say, yes, that happened, and take away that it was right, wrong, good, or bad, and say, I can't change it, but what did I get from it? What was that silver lining? Because there's got to be something. That's why it happened, right? Because I truly believe that we each have a purpose to serve in this world, and everything that happens is nudging us to become the person that we're supposed to become in order for us to deliver the message that we have to deliver to this world.
Wow. Okay, that was gold. So I want to break it down for a moment because you said some really, really key things. And one is really beginning to, and I want to just choose my words really well here. It is, having the awareness of patterns, right? And you talked about a coping mechanism. And I really want everybody to get this because every coping mechanism that we have is a habit, a habitual way of being. And we're really expanding habits so people can get the power in choosing. So every coping mechanism that we have is a habit, a habitual way of being that, as you said, you learn probably at a young age for your own survival. So
Yes.
I will give a very key answer. I grew up in a household where conflict was loud, and for Suzanne, it felt aggressive. And being the youngest in the family, it scared me. I'm just going to be real. It scared me. So my coping mechanism was to not speak my truth, right? So if I was upset about something, I may act out in a way, drama queen, but I would never risk articulating my truth because that would be disruptive. So I kept everything inside. And so I was rambunctious, I was loud, I did all sorts of things, but self-expression was not something I did because self-expression had a consequence. Fast forward in my 20s and my 30s, when something happened and I was engaged with friends, relationships, all these different things, when something happened, I would not express myself because that was my habitual way of being. But this was the interesting thing. I'd be like, no one ever pays attention to how I'm feeling. Drama. Not realizing that people can't read my mind is that I haven't learned to express how I'm feeling. Therefore, my emotions, my feelings were never attended to.
Wow.
Habit, powerful.
That's so powerful.
And it was when I got the insight of my habitual way of being, my defense mechanism that had me survive a situation I didn't know how to when I was little and choose something different. I had to then learn. And one of my guiding principles, one of my values for my company is open, honest, timely communication. And open, honest, timely communication was what Suzanne had to learn to begin to share what was going on for her so I could be attended to.
Mm.
But I had to realize that was just a habit, a survival mechanism, and see how broad habits are.
Wow, that's so powerful, Suzanne. And, you know, I want to add one piece for everyone that's listening, because now that we understand this and now that we're aware of it, when it shows up, we will say, oh, no, that's bad. That's a bad habit. But I want people to take away that good or bad. It's just a way of being, and it has consequences. And if you're happy with the consequences, that's fine. And if you're not happy with the consequences, choose differently. But take away whether it's good or bad. Take away that piece, because then that emotional attachment, that baggage, you're able to disconnect from that, and you're able to take what you need to take and move forward.
Oh, gold. Okay. So am I a little excited? Yes, I am. This is me, mindset. But this is so key. So understand, for everyone listening, that when you and I have a coping mechanism, it serves a purpose. And what Fozia is really saying is get away from the good or bad of the habitual way of being and put it in the place of what is. When this happens, this is how I show up. And this is the reason why sometimes it benefits me not to be self-expressed, right? And to really go, this is a time to hold my feelings to myself, and this is not the place and time. And that's a habitual way of being. And then sometimes it serves me to be fully self-expressed. And what I got as I learned this for myself is my automatic way of being, my habitual way that got me to the place where I was 20 and not speaking, was effective. Now I had to learn another habit. And so when we put habits in good or bad categories, we eliminate choice, and then we make it like you got to erase it. We're not saying erase the habit. We're saying put a new habit in your toolkit so that you now know when your way of being is most effective.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Suzanne. I love that. And I love that you brought up that once we're aware of it, we want to just, eliminate it completely. But remember, it's our automatic way of being. It's always going to show up, because whenever we feel like we're in a tight place, whenever we feel we're being put outside of that comfort zone, whenever we feel like, okay, I don't know, things are out of control, that's going to show up for us, because it's automatic, right? It's been instilled from very young age, and it's part of who we are. And so we have to appreciate that, but we don't always have to follow it. That's where the choice is.
And that's where the power is.
Yeah.
Right? That is so where the power is. And it really is about being responsible for who you choose to be moment to moment. So cool. So I want to ask this question. So I know for myself, so two things I want to say. One is, because I want to go back to something that you said. Everybody talks about, what is it? 21 days to form a habit. Okay, I'm going to just tell everybody, in the world according to Suzanne, that is the biggest myth going. Sets us up for some serious just failure and upset. Big myth. That's what I think. And this is why, and you said it, and I want to highlight it for everyone. When someone asks me, how long does it take to form a habit? I always say until. Until. And this is why, and you alluded to it. Have you ever noticed that you can be taking on a new habit and you're going along and life is easy peasy and life is smooth and predictable, and you're just in that habit and you're like, oh, I mastered this. And then something happens, and as you said, you get thrown out of your comfort zone, you get thrown a curveball, and somehow your old friend, your automatic way of being emerges.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, 21 days, huh? It's until you get upset, until you get frustrated, until you get thrown out of your comfort zone, until you try something new, until you try something different. And then suddenly you're back to your old way of being. And why I want everybody to get this is the minute we change, and particularly for the entrepreneurs in the world, you might be like coasting in your business, all's good. You've mastered the habits of all the things you need to do. Then you take on a new project that makes you uncomfortable. And then you notice your habit of procrastination suddenly comes back. Your habit of not, like, all these habits come back. All it is you readjusting to your new environment, the new thing that you're up to. And again, the power of what we're talking about is you have to be present to choice, present to your way of being, and present to choice.
I love that. I love that. And you're bang on. Like, there is no 21 days, it's new habit, that's it, you're set, good for life. No, it doesn't work that way. But
I'm living proof of that, Fozia.
as am I. As am I. But the beautiful thing about all of this is that when you get comfortable in that new habit and you're in the zone and you're in the groove and life is good, and then life will say, oh, time for a curveball, right?
Yeah.
So it's that moment where our automatic way of being shows up. But remember, if everything is happening for us, it's happening because now we've gotten to this level. And so life has to happen so we can up our game.
Yeah.
We need to be the next best version of ourselves. And again, every time you're going to find yourself in an overwhelm, or that hole that you keep falling into, or those automatic ways of being, those thoughts are always going to show up because they're part of who you are, right? So we can't bury them down, but acknowledge that it's there and say, oh yeah, there you are. And I might catch myself procrastinating, like how long after I've gone down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and whatever. But the thing is that once you are aware of this, then you're like, okay, there it is again. So yes, I acknowledge it. Yes, I see it, but I'm choosing different. And then you just pick yourself up, and you have to, you put things in place to hold yourself accountable. But you have to move forward. And sometimes you just have to push through that feeling of being uncomfortable until it becomes a comfortable place.
Absolutely. Oh, so well said. So, so I want to, like, I'm sitting here and I'm just enjoying this conversation. Two reasons why is, Fozia is actually one of the students in that mastery, and she's in the mastermind, and it's so beautiful to just hear you just master all of this, right? But this is the thing I want to talk about, because what's been beautiful over the last year, maybe year and a half. And I remember when I called you and I said, who is this woman showing up? Right? It was a drastic shift in your way of being. And I know you did a lot of personal work, and really a lot of self-awareness. And you saw, it was like all your work culminated in a moment, and then you shifted. I want to talk a little bit about what we call mental representation. And mental representation is your ability to see something so you can be something. I want everyone to get this. Oh, Ryan said I really needed to hear this. So Ryan, this is for you. So when you say you have to see something to be something. So if anyone was on our very first habit call, I said that when I say apple, what do people see? And people put in the comments, red, juicy, round, green, delicious. And I said, you see, we have a visual. The challenge with many of our habits is that when we say a word, we don't have a mental representation of that word. You guys put track it in the comment section if you're getting this, right? So we don't have a mental representation. So we make a commitment to show up as this word: punctual, integrity, persistent, responsible. And if we don't have a mental representation of that thing, our brain goes, I don't get it. How am I supposed to be? So my question to you is, what did you do to create that shift? How did you work with that whole concept of mental representation so you could make that shift?
Wow, that's a great question. So like I said, there, it's a journey. I mean, life is a journey. We've all heard that, right? Life is a journey. And we don't realize that life happens to us because we need to level up to the next best version of ourselves. And if we don't open ourselves up to learning new things, understanding things differently, and we just are very comfortable in this box that we've created for ourselves, where for a long time I was very comfortable just blaming other people. I was very comfortable saying, this sucks, and just that's it. And I would chalk it up to that. But it wasn't until I was willing to say, okay, I'm tired. I'm tired of where I am. How do I get to where I want to be? How do I get there? There's got to be something else because my way isn't working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then it was about getting to work to learn something new, getting to work to understand what are my patterns. And once I recognized my patterns, then I was able to say, okay, so when I get to this point, this is what I choose. But what if I choose different? What would it look like? Right. And making a list of, am I happy with the way the impact has, like my habits have, like the impact on my life? No, I'm not happy. What would it look like if I didn't have to deal with that pain or frustration anymore? And make a list and then really commit to that vision of what that looks like. And it's going to be different for everyone. But what do you want your life to look like without the frustration, without the blame game, without all the drama? I mean, it's still going to show up. It's not like this, once you get it, it goes away. It's still going to show up. But once you get it, you're able to choose, and you get to choose every moment of every day, right? So you like, just have a vision for yourself, have a vision for your life. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want? How do you want to show up in your own life? Do you want to just sit on the sidelines and have life throw stuff at you and you're deflecting it, or do you actually want to get out there and play the game and say, yeah, I want the ball, I want to see if I can score.
Oh, so well said. And so I want everyone to listen to Fozia's words, because she said, "What does it look like?" And mental representation is your ability to see what it looks like. And so I see Patricia's like, she's just like going to town, like loves and hearts and all sorts of stuff. She's sending you love, Fozia.
uh,
So what does it look like? And then you said, I made a list, and I want to be really clear for everyone listening. She made a list that reflected what it looked like. And what she means and what we're talking about is, what are the behaviors that will, when executed, will create this new habit, right?
mhm.
So what does it look like? So for everyone who works with me, I work out every morning, 6 a.m. It used to be 7 a.m. And then my friend said that wasn't early enough because she had to leave for work for 7:30. And I was like, ooh. So new habit, move from working out at 7:30 to 6 a.m. means Suzanne's up at 5:30. What does that look like? So it looks like Suzanne has to go to bed at 10. It looks like Suzanne has to set her alarm for 5 because I need to snooze at least twice before I get out of bed. It looks like my workout gear needs to be in a certain place. It looks like everything needs to be set up. It looks like I need to know what workout I'm doing at 5 o'clock in the morning because I don't think so well at that time. And so what I'm talking about is, I actually have to paint a mental representation and make a list of the things that need to happen for me to honor my word. And then I have to see myself downstairs in my workout gear doing my workout. And it works for every different thing. But the question that you asked is, what does it look like? I think the second question you might want to ask is, who am I required to be and become to honor that commitment? And what I mean by be and become, and Fozia, I want you to talk a little bit about this, is how do I change my way of being? How do I change my mindset to be this, to become this? And for me, my best way of doing that is I watch other people who are doing the thing that I'm not yet doing.
Mm-hmm.
And mental representation is just, I go model you. So if you're doing something I want to do, I'm going to go study you, and then I'm going to model you. I need a mental representation of that thing.
Absolutely. That's so well said, Suzanne. And, as you were speaking, what was coming up for me is, so we're talking about our life here, right? We're talking about our life. Like, this is what we have, that, you're going to enjoy it or you're going to be miserable. Like, it's all comes down to the choices that you make, right? And I think that a lot of times, just to put things like a little bit into perspective, a lot of times, let's just say someone had to go out and buy a new car. Okay. How much research do we do before we go out to buy this new car? How many things do we have on a list? Like, I need to make sure it has this, I need to make sure it has this, and all of these things, because that's what we're looking for, right? And we have this vision of what we want, and then we go out to all the different dealerships looking for it, right? So let's take that analogy and let's give it even more importance when we apply it to our own life. So if we look at habits, and you said something that was so important, Suzanne, is that we don't understand, we throw these words out, but we don't understand what it actually means for us to show up that way.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so key. So for example, like, let's just take my health. So I've committed to my health a number of times. And what does that look like? That looks like, for some people, it's like, it's got to be this strict diet and whatever. And for some people, it's like, I can't do a diet. And for some people, it's like, I got to get into drinking water. But you have to really look at what that looks like for you. What is that vision? Like, how do you see yourself in the state of being healthy? Whether it's your physical health or your mental health or your emotional health, spiritual health, financial health, anything. Have a vision for every part of your life. If you can sit down and put that much effort into buying a new car or buying a new house, you deserve it for your life.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I want to say as we talk through this is, habits are incremental steps, right? And most people, when they look at a new habit, they take this all or nothing approach. I've committed to this habit and I'm just going to do it. And if I don't, they have words for themselves, which we won't repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I think is really key is that it's like any journey you start on. So think of it, and I'm going to continue with your car analogy. So think about, you're going to go across the country, right? That's a long way to go. And chances are you're going to stop. Chances are you're going to get lost. Chances are you're going to have pit stops. Chances are you're going to get out of the car and say, enough, I can't drive anymore. Like, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a straight shot to get where you're going. So I'm inviting you, I think Fozia is inviting you to look at your habits the same way and say, okay, well, today I'm going to go from here to here. I may get lost, but I'm going to get back on track and I'm going to keep it moving. Tomorrow, I'm going to go a little further. And it's the daily commitment of honoring that word that you made for yourself that changes a habit. And we tend to look at the end and say, okay, well, that's who I'm going to be, and it's like this. No, it is daily. And for me, I think why I tend to win with my habits is I only commit for tomorrow. Right? I only commit for tomorrow. So I tell everybody, Suzanne wakes up totally out of integrity around everything in your life, totally out of integrity. And I get to choose to recreate integrity in every area of my life today.
Mm-hmm.
And in some places, I'll do really well. And in some places, I will do not so well. Sometimes I have to recommit by 10 o'clock in the morning, recommit to my word. Sometimes I'll sail through the day, but I know that I believe that the sun rises and sets so that we can have a reset every day.
Oh, how beautiful is that?
Right? So
Yeah.
the sun rises, new day, new dawn, new commitments. The sun sets, I evaluate my day and I reset tomorrow morning and I start again. And so rather than looking at your habits as, you know, I got to get it all right, look at it as tomorrow I'm going to honor my word.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate where I've honored, and I'm going to learn from where I was challenged, and then the next day I'm going to reset and I'm going to honor it. And for me, what's beautiful about that is I never get to coast in that.
Mm-hmm. I
Right?
love that. Yeah. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And you know how you said, like, you, let's go back to the car analogy, but you know, you're driving and you find yourself lost, right? So now you're like, okay, I'm not on the route that I had set out for myself, and I don't know how I got here. So are you going to turn around and go home? No, you're going to you're going to
Love it.
source
Love it.
out, you're going to source out what you need to keep you moving forward. And that's what life offers us. Just like you said, you model someone that's doing what you want to do. You model someone that is showing up the way you want to show up. So when you find yourself at a certain place and now you're stuck, rather than allowing yourself to give in to those old habits, go find the person that is showing up the way you need to show up to move forward.
Wow. That is good. That is good. That is good. I'm gonna like, we got comments. They are like, woo. So first of all, I want to welcome a few people. Let's see. I saw Coach Tawana on here. Hello, Coach Tawana. Welcome. I saw Chrissy Anderson is on here. Hi, Chrissy. And Chrissy has been commenting. She says, I love how you tell us the real deal story. You guys, you were amazing, apparently. Thank you, Chrissy. Let's see what else we got here. Patricia is loving this conversation. And what is Patricia saying? You are responsible for your own habits, good or bad. There's power in those words, Patricia. Oh my gosh, Kathy Long from Onyx. Welcome and wonderful to see you. That's a blast from my past. That's a powerhouse right there. And she says correct and amazing. Oh, we got some great comments. Fozia, let me see, what do I want? This has been such a powerful conversation. It's gone so fast. I want to share that we haven't touched on. Well, let me just ask you, if there was one thing that you would leave everybody with. So the audience are super achievers, I like to call everyone, who have a desire to be absolutely, totally unstoppable in their world. And I just thought of my last words for everybody. What would be your last words?
My last words for everyone is you deserve the life that you dream for yourself. Right? And it's up to each of us to make it happen. And that doesn't mean that we have to do it on our own, but it means that we have to understand that we have it in us to achieve it. And just like anything else in life, there are people and resources and communities and groups we can connect with, we can lock arms with. We have to find those people that are in alignment with what we're in alignment with, those people that are like-minded, because those people are going to be your supports. You're going to show up for them and they're going to show up for you, and you're going to learn from each other. Surround yourself with people that want to achieve more, because that's going to motivate you and keep you going to achieve more.
Wow. Okay. She said it. She said it. Let me think. Now that that was powerful. Okay, what's mine? Okay, this is it. If you are up to big things, you must expect massive breakdowns.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't it? You must
Oh,
expect massive breakdowns. But this is the thing. If I'm using Fozia words, the breakdowns are there for you to actually see who you are being in the moment and powerfully choose and create who you desire to be. That
mhm.
requires you cast a vision worthy of your life that has a representation of who you are called to become. And then you embody that person. And
Oh,
this is the thing, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Because I truly know that the leader always shows up. I like to say the leader shows up before the money, the leader shows up before the success, the leader shows up before the transformation. In other words, I must become that which I desire before I can claim it. Another way of saying it is when I ask for a miracle, my transformation is my work to receive my miracle.
ooh, I like that. I love that. That is so powerful. You know what just came up for me as you said this? So, and I'll just use like a simple example. If we ask, like we pray and we ask for things, right? And so if I ask to be a person of patience and I ask that I want to have patience when I'm dealing with people, when things are happening to me, God's not going to snap his fingers and say, there you go, now you're a patient person. He's going to create situations to come up in my life that require me to practice the habit of being patient. And when that becomes my go-to, my choice that I go to, that's when I become a person of patience.
Ooh, okay, we just gonna drop the mic right there. That was it. That was it. Oh my gosh. Fozia, thank you so much. And it is such a joy to know you. It's been a joy to journey with you. It's been a joy to witness your transformation and your commitment to becoming more, doing more, being more,
Um,
and having more. And it is, I mean, these are the people I lock arms with because I say what's the word? You create me, creating you. When I see
mhm.
brilliance in you, it calls out brilliance in me. And then I see brilliance in you and it calls out brilliance in me. And that's the feeding, right? And so it's been a joy to watch. All right. Okay, I'm full.
Thank you
I'm
so much for
full.
having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom and your growth. Everyone, I have been sitting down with Fozia Murtaza. Our topic is 3 reasons why your habits may be getting in the way of your success. Um, we will be back here next week, Thursday. And if you are looking for a community where leaders strive to be more and they want to overcome challenge, overcome fear, and live every single day with passion and purpose, you want to join us in Unstoppable Mindset for Superachievers, our Facebook group. This is where we continue the conversations just like this. Um, I feel blessed, Fozzie. I feel full. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed, Suzanne, to have you by my side on my journey. And life is fun, and I wish that for everyone.
Yeah, it is. It is. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure and make sure and comment, make sure and share the knowledge, share the love. We will be back here next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a very special guest that will be showing up. We will be going back into our inclusive leadership conversation. This is dealing with race, culture, ethnicity, oppression, marginalization, bias, Next week, we'll be talking about integration versus assimilation. I know. It's an exciting topic. I'm excited. So please make sure and join us 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Thursdays. Take care, everyone. Stay blessed. And remember, you are so brilliant. You are so special. And trust me, the world is waiting for you to put your unique gifts into the marketplace. Blessings. Take care.
Thank you.